Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Crafting with Cosplay Fabrics. My name is Indra and today we are going to talk about bias tape. What is it? How can you use it? Let's find out. Our mostly requested, we get this all the time, is about bias tape. What it is, how can you use it, different ways to use it, best methods. So I figured to do this in two parts. So in this first part, I wanted to explain a little bit about the different types, what you can use it for, and give you a little bit more information about what is bias tape. So let's start with that. So here I have a little scrap of fabric to explain to you a little bit better about what bias tape is. So what it is it's a cut of fabric, it's a strip of fabric that is cut on the bias of a fabric. So if you don't know what that is, you can check here. So fabrics usually are, let's put it in layman's terms, is just threads that run horizontal and vertical, right? So horizontal, you can see like the little threads, or vertical, right? And so we can mark that with a pen. So it runs this way, right? And this way. Actually, let's cut there. So that is the grain of the fabric. So if you go this way, right, that is the bias, because you're going across the grain. You're going against the grain of the fabric. And the reason why that cut is done is because that is, in non-stretch fabrics, is the highest stretch point. Like if you stretch a fabric this way and this way, you're gonna usually get the same stretch. But if you do it at a diagonal, you'll see there's actually some give. And the reason why that is important is because sometimes when we are doing garments, sometimes they have curves or things, and the only way to get the best sort of cover is if you use something that has a little bit of stretch, hence the bias. So let's get to some examples and what you can use them for. Here I have a few types of commercial bias tape, which is usually the mostly used type of bias tape. Of course, you can make your own. Like I just showed you, you just basically cut a strip at the bias. But this is so that you understand some of also the terminology and what the heck are all these examples, right? So usually they come in these little packages that are wrapped in just like a little piece of cardboard. And you'll see that some of them say things like extra wide, double fold, and of course you have all the measurements here. So I want to show you what those mean. If you've never worked with bias tape, or if you're not entirely sure, I hope this hopefully gives you a little bit more clarification. So here is what is called a single fold. And single fold, all it is just the strip, but if you look at the back, it's just the sides are folded in to give you just like a nice clean finish. And then we have these two, which are the double folds. So basically it's like you take this one but fold it in half. I'll show you. Here's one which is a larger measurement, and I figured it was easier to see. And here's one that is a little bit thinner, but see, it's just that single fold folded in half. So what is the extra wide or wide, like what you see here? All that is just this, to put it simply, it's just this little flap over here. If the wider that it is, it means that they used more fabric to create this measurement. So this flap in here is gonna be a lot wider. The normal ones might be more like, they might end like right here. And the reason why that might be important or easier to use, it's really depending on the type of project that you're using. I personally think that the most forgiving, the easiest to use and everything is just using a extra wide double fold. But let me explain a little bit on how you can use these different types. Okay, so here I have the single fold and then the double fold, which are really the two types that are most common. You'll see that there are other types that are technically considered bias tape, but these are usually the ones that are mostly used for cosplay or for most sewing projects. So what do you use these for? Usually single fold is used if you want. I'll use the scrap of fabric that I used previously to give you a better example. You can use the single fold if you, for example, want to add maybe like a design on top of your garment and you don't need it to be this thick. You can also use this, which is my personal recommendation, for two things. One is as a casing. So if you, for example, are, let's say, building a corset or something like that, you can do your channels on the inside and you just put the boning right through. So you just sew the sides and you have your casing done. Another thing that you can do is to do hems, which is a really super easy way to do it. So there are basically, instead of folding and sewing, you might not have like a ton of fabric to do like folding and then folding it again. So really awesome way to do this is by basically you sew these two together, right? So then when you turn these like inside out, it's going to then look a little something like this. So you'll have a super clean hem, and because of that extra thickness is gonna give it like really nice body on the on your edges. For the double fold, most of the time is used as edging, decorating, and stuff like that, and also to like encase your edges, so it can look a little bit something like this. And there are different ways to sew these types of bias tape, which is what I want to get to in the second part. But I do hope that at least this gave you some idea of how it works, what it is, and the different meanings of the types of bias tape. So let me know what you think. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this helps you and gives you maybe some ideas for future projects and cosplays. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon for another tip, trick, or tutorial featuring cosplay fabrics. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.